Let's go to Forbes publisher Rich Karlgaard. We've got Axios reporter Caitlin Owens and United Capital CEO Joe Duran. Joe, I'm looking at these kind of developments and thinking, well, the likelihood of scoring a deal quickly now is at least complicated. What do you think?
Yes, anything that adds more questions that need to be resolved obviously complicate things and play into Donald Trump's hands, into our president's hands, frankly, because he can then say, look, this is why we can't do a deal with them. And anything that validates his position is helpful to his cause. And I do think clouds the water a little bit more. I think Mexico was a distraction which was not helpful. Getting that off the table allows them to be a little bit more rigid with the Chinese. I also think you have to take into account what's happening with the currency, because what's happening is with their currency going down, they're able to actually offset a lot of the tariff impact. That's right. And that shouldn't be ignored.
You know, it's funny, too, Rich, on that currency front, the president has kind of, sighed that he doesn't have the same freedoms that his Chinese counterpart does to essentially control what would be the Federal Reserve the way he can control the Central Bank of China and rig that currency to get the desired result. This is all the more complicated now, right?
It's a lot more complicated. The U.S. has by far the economic leverage in this relationship, but of course the differentiator is that President Xi is the president for life. And the military stands behind him, and the military is not going to be moved. So this is a tense situation. I couldn't agree more with Joe that Trump really needs to let go of picking trade fights or spats with Europe or Mexico or anybody else from this point forward, because if you believe President Trump is the one to manage the relationship with China, he first has to get reelected. And right now he's got some high disapproval ratings in states that he won in 2016, like Wisconsin and Iowa, because of the fallout from the trade war.
Well, there could be a lot of other issues that might be bedeviling his poll numbers, but you raise a good point. Caitlin, what I'm wondering about, though, is the president might have been wise to sort of hold off on these renewing talks, because he said he's very patient about this. He might not renew it anytime soon. And now, given what's happening in Hong Kong, he might have been proven prescient. How is this all going to fall out, you think?
You know, I think there's kind of two competing factors here. So for China, President Xi doesn't want to look like he's giving in to be a bully, to Trump's demands. He said that, that he won't do that. And so it's kind of a political factor here. But on the other hand, as we're watching kind of trouble with China's economy, I mean, if China and the U.S. don't come to some kind of trade agreement, then things could get worse economically in China. So those are kind of the two competing factors, I think, that are going to be at play in the next weeks and months.
There are always black swan developments for the market. You reminded me of that over the years. And I'm wondering this Hong Kong thing could be that. I mean, that all of a sudden out of nowhere, China has this new extradition policy that just came out of the blue. And all of a sudden, whether they thought that Hong Kong residents would just accept it, obviously it's proven anything but this could easily escalate into something pretty nasty. What do you think?
I think it's quite like, sorry, are you talking to me now?
I am, Joe, yes, I apologize.
Okay, great. I think it's unlikely that they'll pick this moment to do that. Again, they have a central controlled government. They, like our own president, knows how to distract where necessary. If they don't like what's happening on the U.S. front, let's create a distraction over here. And it's working. And I think they'll resolve it. They'll act like they've done well, and then they'll continue back. They have no reason to move quickly. And so they'd rather wait until the election passes. And secondarily, they're not going to do anything that's embarrassing to their leadership. And so you've got to be very conscious of the fact that we've got to give them a face-saving way out as well. But I don't think they're going to move very quickly at all. This is just a distraction.
All right. Well, I can remember a lot of people thinking back in 1989, Richard, that cooler heads would prevail. And certainly the Chinese authorities wouldn't attack people assembling in Tiananmen Square. We all know in retrospect that was wrong. And I'm beginning to wonder, with leaving trade out of the equation, obviously everyone wants to see a good trade deal scored, that there are bigger worries now.
Well, there are bigger worries. I mean, China's made no bones about the fact that it wants to reassert itself as the world's leading nation, and they've got the 2025 plan to do that, to get independence and all the military technology, all the key technologies going forward. They're at a very critical juncture right now. It's just that I don't see, is Hong Kong like the Gdansk shipping yards in the late 1980s? I don't see that there's a mechanism for any kind of a democratic revolution in China. So, given the might of the military and that President Xi is president for life, it is a very dangerous situation right now.
Well, the next stage I'm waiting for, Caitlin, is when they order people to stop assembling in Hong Kong and they refuse to do so. Then all bets are off, because we know from the past that China doesn't take very kindly to disobedience. And then for what we were discussing, trade is the least of our worries.
Right, I think that sounds about right, Neil. And that could have a very stark impact not only on our economy and China's economy, but that could reverberate worldwide. So there would be some very interesting consequences to that.
Yeah, to put it mildly. Guys, I want to thank you very much. We're still trying to keep on top of these developments in Hong Kong, protests the likes of which we have not seen in years. Remember, Hong Kong enjoys this separate but equal status. It is a thriving capitalist mecca that enjoys even more capitalist rights and individual rights than does China. Remember when the Brits handed that over to the Chinese back in 1997, with the understanding being that that separate but equal policy would continue. And for the better part of 20 years, it did, until now.